Hello, Johnny London here, once again, and it's a bit of an impromptu once again for me today, so you'll have to excuse me because I've got my old phone and no selfie stick, I'm afraid, so the shooting will be a little bit limited. I find myself in Aylesbury, and of course I ended up being drawn to the canal, didn't I? So I'm just on a little nostalgic walk along that stretch of canal leading into the town, where I can no doubt pick up a bit of sustenance in due course. The old swans. Anyway, so what I thought I'd do, I'll just share my thoughts with you. It was 2016 actually, when I came down here in the boat, and I was on the Grand Union heading towards London as usual, and I thought, shall I just turn off and do that Aylesbury branch? And I did, and I'm very glad I did as well. Not too many boats used to get down there back in the day. It's quite a lot of locks and it's a dead end at the end, but it was quite worthwhile, and I did have an enjoyable couple of weeks in Aylesbury actually.
This looks ripe for development. I started out today a little canal-side car park not too far from the town, and as I only had the idea to start filming once I was some way along, you can see that we're already coming into the town itself.
Of course, back in those days, the boat was a mere dream in my head, really. I mean, I was on it and I had it, but it was completely unfitted out. I bought it just sort of ready lined out really, and wiring tails and what have you. So I came floating down here. It had not been long since I sort of did the final loading of all my clobber. I think that was back at Marsworth, where there was sort of reasonable access, road access. I loaded in there. So when I came floating down here, I basically just had all my stuff piled up in tons and tons of boxes, and was at the very early stages of just beginning to find my feet really. I've just worked out that if I hold the camera over here like so, you can actually see me. I don't know if that's an improvement or not.
I believe that this is the road bridge for the A41.
I seem to have this fascination with bridges, don't I? But anyway, what I was saying was, when I came down here, I was still sort of relatively new to it. I had a couple of 100 miles under my belt because I bought the boat up sort of near Liverpool, so I wasn't a complete greenhorn by the time I got here. But as far as finding my feet, I still had a long way to go and a lot of stuff to unpack and quite a lot of work ahead of me.
These houses caught my eye the last time I was here. Can't remember if that was there or not though. This all looks the same. There's the footbridge into town. Just past the bridge. And you've got all your moorings here. I remember it being quite complicated.
Now we're just arriving at the end of the canal now, which is a sort of basin, and I gather that years ago there was quite a lot of provision here for narrowboats, but what they did is I think they put either the university here, and in so doing let Waitrose build a big thing here, so sort of most of it was lost, and they just sort of kept a token amount of canal here, and moved all the boats, all the boat facilities I should say, back up the ways about a mile. I didn't show that on the way down, but we'll have a quick peek on the way back. So, and that's kind of like a proper little marina, and I think it's sort of free as well, so they really went out of their way to sort of make up for taking a facility away from here. But one wonders really, did they need to build a big carbuncle right on the canal? I mean, it's sort of prime waterways really, so it's a bit of a pity, isn't it? So what you've got is a bit of everything here. This side, obviously, you can see you've got 7 days, and then the water point just up there somewhere, which obviously you can only moor at to use. And then I believe over on that side, that's all sort of long-term moorings, so it's not many spaces really. Over there, I believe those moorings are for visitors, and I think they might have electricity as well, although I didn't use them when I was here. And then there, well, if you haven't brought your boat with you, you've got the travel lodge, haven't you? What a carbuncle. In fact, I was moored just back there, and I do remember dreading having to move because this area does get quite windy, and at that time of year it was quite windy. I remember trying to turn here. I mean, I think it went okay. I mean, I've lived to tell the tale, obviously, but it's quite a public spot, and you don't want to be blown into the side all facing the wrong way and making a total cock up of it in front of everybody, do you?
It looks big, but when you're trying to turn a 62 footer in the wind, you can soon run out of space. Or maybe it was this bit I was on. I don't know what this building is, but I wish it wasn't here. But to be fair, they've made a pretty good job of the uni. And the Waitrose is certainly handy for boaters.
So yeah, I have got that about right then. There is a Waitrose, and there is a university, and there is a travel lodge. It seems they sold the area out to the highest bidder to me, really. So I don't really know what it was like here before, so I can't sort of really say if it's sort of gotten better or worse, but there's quite a lot of concrete here now, although they have left some boating facilities, and as I said, they have made a new place for boaters about a mile back out of the town there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to retrace my steps from the glory days. There's a few good shops in this town. It's actually got a very, very nice sort of old town centre, a bit of a sort of market town, market square sort of vibe to it. So I'm going to go around there, pick myself up a bite to eat, and we'll see what we see.
I nearly forgot to mention this fine theatre.
Found a pal here. Doesn't say much.
I'll leave him to enjoy his day. I do like that.
That's a good shot going in there.
Quite interesting architecture above.
That's what I want.
I'll get one of those too.
Just bought the 2 heaviest items in the shop so I can put them in my bag and carry them round all afternoon and then back down the canal. But actually I'm over on my other channel. I'm doing a little job where I'm using a sort of big old lump hammer thing to break up some pallets. Normally I just sort of have a way at them and smash them up, and I don't really care because normally they're just firewood, but on this occasion I'm using the wood to make something. So I'm trying to do it a bit better, and I thought what I could do with is a new hammer, because the one I've got looks like it's on its last legs. Funny enough, I was in here in 2016 when I visited on the boat, and that's where I bought the big mallet thing that I had for putting in my narrowboat mooring pins. You've probably seen me struggling to get my pins in. Well, that was the hammer I used, that's where I bought it, and I had that in mind today actually. I thought as I'm coming up here, I'll have a look and I'll see if they've still got those hammers. They've revised the design slightly, but it's still basically the same thing, so I couldn't resist. And I got the mallet as well, because I thought, well, the mallet's not quite as heavy, but it might be enough, and it makes a lot less clattering noise, a bit easier on the ears, so I've got the options covered. But between them, they do weigh a fair bit. So I'm just sort of walking up the main drag to the square now. I quite like this little town actually. They've got all the things here that you would need.
The usual suspects, and a few besides. There we go.
Oh, they look nice. And well, the reason I go in there quite a bit is because you know what you're going to get, don't you? And it's cheap, and actually it's a little bit more healthy than a lot of the other chain places. Try and stay off all the excess sugar and fat and salt. So what we'll do is we'll have a little stroll through the town in a minute. It is quite a nice little town, this, actually. Obviously the sun's not out today, so it's not going to be looking at its best, but we'll see what we can see, and then we'll have a wander back along the canal.
There's plenty of statues.
Well, that certainly cheered up an otherwise gloomy looking afternoon.
Aylesbury also seems to have plenty of pubs.
You wouldn't think they'd do much business, would you?
That's Poundulus, Roman god of banking.
Well, as you can see, there's quite a few sort of old buildings dotted about the place, and now I'm in the sort of heart of the old town. This is, I think, the square. Let's have a look.
There's a market here sometimes.
No less than 2 shopping centres here. The Hayleys there, and Friars there. Who lives in there?
And what on earth is all that about? The statues just keep coming. I like this one.
Got in there, he's got a silver bracelet with trees.
Can't really film in here because the security will get the arsehole with me, no doubt. Have to get a permission slip.
So I manage what I can.
I have to say, for a modern building, they've done it quite nicely. Well, I was alright because they had a good poppy stall in there, so I was able to get a replacement for the one that I bought in Tesco the other day that I had for all of about 2 minutes before I lost the poppy and the pin. So this was a different design anyway, so I hope to have it for a bit longer. And well, that's the town of Aylesbury for you. It's a cracking little place, lots of old buildings, still quite a few decent bit of shoppings to be had there if that's your bag. But for me, well, I'm going to head back down to the canal.
It's amazing how quickly it becomes peaceful again.
Oh, there we are. Behind me is that place I was telling you about, the sort of new marina to make up for the loss of whatever there was in the town centre before. It looks pretty nice actually, and I really should have stopped by and checked it out when I was cruising through. I don't know why I didn't, probably off to pastures new I expect, but anyway, there it is.
I'm back at the car park where CRT are preparing to start works on the lock here.
Well, I'm sure CRT won't mind me borrowing one of their tugboats to do a little bit of filming on. We'll just have my closing thoughts now. It was 8 years since I came along here, 2016, 2024 now. Where does the time go? I remember being quite excited at the prospect of arriving in Aylesbury because there's a big B&Q there and I needed quite a lot of stuff for the boat. I did manage to get a few things, a few bits of wood and brackets and one thing and another, and so began the process of sort of fitting the boat out, which never really ended right until the very end. So my thoughts, it's great to be on the canal. It's so calm and relaxing and still and peaceful, and they say that, you know, the calmness by the water, and I think it's certainly true. I mean, you never really get away from everything. I mean, there's a road over there and, you know, people coming by and one thing and another, but it is a nice place to be. So with that in mind, when will I ever get back here with my own boat? Who knows? I don't know. I've got a lot of things still I'm sorting out at the moment to do, and I think it will have to be at a time when I really don't have too much else on my agenda, on my mind, which was how it was for me when I sort of went aboard the first time. I pretty much sort of concluded everything. I was sort of kicking around looking for something new to do, and, you know, obviously it's a good time to take on something like that, so hopefully those times may come again one day. Now, as far as the channel goes, I'm going to keep putting up odds and ends. There might even be a bit more sort of leftover stuff if I can dig it out. I have to see. I did want to do a sort of retrospective, a sort of how and why I sort of got into buying the boat and, you know, all the stuff from the very beginning, but unfortunately most of the footage I had for that was on a very, very old early sort of phone camera, and it wouldn't have been really much good anyway. Plus it got sort of drowned as well, so I lost all that. I've only got a few stills and a few little odds and ends, so it'll be quite difficult to put anything together like that. I've got a few other ideas as well, obviously time permitting, but I thought I'd just sort of say hello and just share with you my thoughts today. So I will see you all again as and when, and in the meantime, take care. See you soon.